Hi, welcome to my presentation. My educational giant is Earl Warren. So, just one man had a sparking interest of law and establishing justice that changed our world. Earl Warren was an educational giant. He looked for ways to be a part of the court environment even while he was young. He had a desire to establish equality and establish the importance of keeping the laws made. He was an amazing man who changed so many things within our nation. He changed the process of judging within the court system because of his strong desires to achieve justice and equality. Earl Warren is an educational giant. He is remembered still to this day. There are so many scholarships and programs that have honored his name. There's a college that's named after him. And the reason for this is in order to encourage the incoming law students who want to make a difference in the American society. Earl Warren was born in Los Angeles on March 19, 1891. Throughout most of his childhood, he and his family lived in Bakersfield, and his father was a railroad employee there. His determination to be a lawyer goes way back to before his high school days. He had a sparking interest in justice and law, and at times he would go to listen to criminal cases that were held at the Kern County Courthouse while he was young. So he just wanted to be a part of that environment and to see what court life was like, how to incorporate justice and law. He found that really interesting. Warren attended the University of California, Berkeley. He majored in political science for 3 years before entering UCB's School of Law. He received his BA degree in 1912 and his JD degree in 1914. On May 14, 1915, he was admitted to the California Bar. And after graduation, Warren worked in law offices in San Francisco and Oakland, and during this time in his career, those were all private practices. From 1920 until his retirement from the Supreme Court, he served the whole time. He was favored by many. Some people hated him. Some people thought he was boring. But no matter what people thought, he still served. It didn't keep him from serving, so that's pretty cool. In 1925, he was appointed Alameda County District Attorney when the incumbent resigned. He won the election to the post in his own right in 1926, 1930, and 1934. During his 14 years as a district attorney, he developed a reputation as a crime fighter. He was sometimes accused of high-handedness in his methods, meaning some people didn't really agree with how he went about implementing the law, but over the course of 13 years, and the cases ranging from murder to breaking in through windows, he never had a conviction reversed by a higher court, so that's pretty incredible. He was a member of the Board of Regents of the University of California, and although he was a Republican, he had a broad bipartisan support because of his liberal views. He's the only person to be elected to the governorship of California for 3 consecutive terms. That's almost unheard of. That's crazy. That just says a lot about him. It shows that he was a good leader and important. 1946, he was the only governor in our history to win an election unopposed. So when he won the Democratic, Republican, and Progressive primaries. That is incredible. Props to him. The Warren Court's most important decision was the ruling that made racial segregation unconstitutional. Another one was the one-man, one-vote ruling that caused a major shift in legislative power from rural areas to cities. Besides his work in the court, he headed the commission that investigated the assassination of John F. Kennedy. He retired in 1969 and died on July 19, 1974. In Washington, D.C., there's an Earl Warren College that was named after him in a ceremony. So he was a pretty great leader, and a lot of people wanted to commemorate his achievements, so they named a college after him to help people who were wanting to come into law. They made several scholarships and programs that help others. Anyways, as a Chief Justice, he was passionate about achieving a more equal society, regardless of skin color. He was possibly the most progressive and dynamic Chief Justice the United States has ever had. He took in everyday life with a fresh breath of air and didn't pay attention to the unfairness. He wasn't blinded by prejudice or overburdened by inequality. Rather, he tried to look past those things and try and fix every aspect. Personal enrichment was not important to him. Again, he didn't care what other people's views were. He just stuck to what he believed and tried to help the greater good of the people. He achieved a balance between personal freedom, civil liberties, and the greater good of the society. He drafted the opinion in Brown v. Board, which led to the unanimous ruling declaring segregation in public schools illegal, which today, that's why we don't have segregation in schools, so that's a huge accomplishment. Some of the landmark decisions that he was a part of was, again, Brown v. Board of Education, Gideon v. Wainwright, Reynolds v. Sims, and Miranda v. Arizona. He's one of the only 2 people to be elected governor of California 3 times. That's pretty amazing. Some of the other things that he was in charge of was he was a district attorney for Alameda County, California, and the Attorney General of California. So he was a great leader. He pushed all the boundaries when it came to rules and changes that could be made in history. He wanted all to be equal no matter the differences, especially skin color. He fought for what he felt was right and just, no matter the cost. He truly changed the schooling system and procedures that are performed within the courts today. His mentality was to stick by his beliefs and not focus on anyone else's opinion. That philosophy has impacted me and has impacted a lot of people around the world, because now I know that if we don't give up on what we believe is right, and if we fight for it no matter the cost, and we just focus on our beliefs and have a good desire, and if they're just and right, that those things will come to pass and they'll be able to happen. So I know now that when I keep trying and don't give up, that I'll be able to do anything. Anyways, thanks for watching my presentation. I'll be sending in a PowerPoint with just more of the key terms and key things to remember about Earl Warren. So thanks, see ya!